This quadcopter is better than I am.
Hello drone racers, this is the Holybro Kopis 1 and it just moved to the top of my review list for two reasons. One, once I review this, I'm actually giving it away, so there's a link up in the corner for my giveaway for this at the end of the year, assuming we get to 9,000 subscribers, which is a long way to go. Make sure you're subscribed and sign up for the giveaway. But two, even more importantly, it's on sale right now for $199. That's as of today, and I will update the description when that's gone that I know of, but it's $199. When I first saw this, it was $350, and I just couldn't imagine how it's worth $350. Now for $199, I really want to see if it's worth $199, because I think it is. To start out with, you can tell there's a real additional sense of pride in this just with the box. A lot of these don't come with any boxes, they don't come with any instructions. This one actually talks about the specifications and what's included. It's a really nice professional box, which doesn't matter in the long run, but it does show the attention that was put into it, which probably goes a long way. And with this, you can see you get the absolute top of the line, pretty much everything. It's 5mm carbon. It's countersunk screws, which may or may not be good. It's an F4 flight controller with OSD, which I would expect at this point, but whatever. Lots of transmit powers, depending on where you are around the world, you'll probably be able to use it. Uses a Runcam Micro Swift, which is awesome. It's adjustable and blah, blah, blah. Should be good. Let's find out. Oh, and I'd forgotten. It actually comes in its own fancy schmancy little case, which is really nice. This is actually kind of nice since it's winter here and it's dark when I get home from work. I actually am working on flying more over lunch. Traveling back and forth to work with this would be a lot nicer having a case for it. And it's all ready to go right out of the box. The props are even installed, which is kind of annoying because now I'm going to have to take them off to set everything up. It's held into the case with Velcro, which is kind of nice. Are these antennas supposed to stay like this? I suppose we'll check with the manual to see, because that seems, I suppose it'll push down, but I'm a little worried. The placement's really good. The signal should be really good, but I'm a little worried that they will get caught in the props. Oh, it has a battery guard. Whoa, the real ESCs. They're not 4-in-1 ESCs. It's been a while since I've seen these. Is it bad that that's retro at this point? If you've seen my GT200 review, which honestly, this is probably the biggest competition between these two. They're both in a similar price range. They should have similar quality components. This is partially what inspired what I did for the antenna for that. I've actually gone and turned it the same way with a very similar antenna that points down and out of the way, because I had a lot of problems with the antennas on that. They're only 50-45 props, which, yay, it didn't come with 51-52 props. So somebody who actually seems like they're paying attention rather than just putting the most aggressive props you can possibly get on it. The motors are T-Motor Air 40 2450s, which kind of surprises me. These are not super amazing motors. They're good. I actually just bought some. I've got some here that I bought for one of my other builds because they're pretty high quality. They're really good value, but I didn't expect really good value motors on this. I expected really powerful, over-the-top, crazy, hey, look at me motors. Hopefully that's a good sign that these motors are good, because I haven't used them on my other build yet, but it surprises me a little bit. The carbon on this is really nice. Even the top plate is pretty thick, and it just feels really strong. It's really smooth. I do dig the countersunk screws. Those are fancy. Using multiple screws for the camera is nice, so you've got one to hold it in and one to adjust it. I definitely prefer that over, a lot of times they just stick one on the side and set the angle and go. It is really light. I can tell there's just not a lot to it, and it just comes in. There's one plate on the bottom that holds everything together, and it just comes in, and it's really simple and straightforward. So in the manual, you get quite a bit of stuff here. You get a controller for the camera for programming that, some extra Velcro, some extra plates, some extra heat shrink and zip ties for reconnecting the receivers when it comes off. A channel band manual, which is really nice. Oh, it does come with a GoPro mount. I don't tend to put the GoPros on them very often, but it is nice that it comes. It's a really nice one as far as things go. And the way you can already see how it locks in, really nice there. An extra set of props, these are clear. And then a list of parts and no manual. Really? No manual? Huh, well that's disappointing. I was all set up to talk about how terrible the manual that came with this for the flight controller was, how badly it was written, knowing Joshua Bardwell made it, and as my little joke, and I don't even get to tell that. Aww. So I took the screws out of the top and went to take the top plate off, and the buzzer is connected and all the wires for that. Also the receiver is here, and it's mounted to this top plate with all the wires in place there. So it makes it a little hard to get this up and going. or at least to take it apart to service it a little bit more difficult than I would generally like. It won't be a problem for getting everything set up because the bind button is right there. You can also see a microphone on the VTX itself, so that's really handy. But so I'm gonna put this back on, get it set up with my radio, and go from there. There's also, it looks like a telemetry port. I'm not exactly sure what this RX is, but I'll just try telemetry and see what happens. Okay, so I've got it set up. I've got the radio connected and bound. I went through and did just a couple things that I want to show you here, just in the settings. In the version right now, it's shipping with Betaflight 3.2, but it's an old version of 3.2. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's an old version of 3.2 that doesn't support all the new fancy wancy stuff. So I'm not going to upgrade it today. I want to fly it first the way they've got it, and then I'll probably go through and do an upgrade because I really like 3.2.1 and 3.2.2. But today we're going to fly it on 3.2.0. Got confirmation ports. We are connected to UART, and then UART 6 is IRC tramp, which is what we're going to use for the OSD configurations or the VTX configuration. So we'll take a look at that in just a minute, but we'll go through configurations, D-shot as we would expect, and it's 8000, 2000, it's not 8000, 8000, which it should be able to handle with F4, but again, I'm not going to change this kind of thing right now. PID tuning, they have custom PIDs on here. I am not going to change this today, and I'm not going to change the filters today. Not until I do an update, and I want to fly it first, because I think it'll fly just fine out of the box. I got the receiver set up. Looks like I need to calibrate my radio again. I did change around arm. So by default, it was armed, and it was on arm. But so I've got Hangle, Horizon set up. There's no air mode set up here. It's just the on or off for the whole arming switch. Hopefully that gets set on the switch because I don't really want my angle mode to have air mode. There's absolutely no point at all. The OSD is 3.2. I changed that just a little bit. And then there is a customized LED strip, which is the thing I'm going to have to remember to back up before I do an upgrade. I always forget that. Starting the DVR now. Okay, so the quad is not armed, and to activate the VTX, you move the throttle to the center, push up on the right stick, and yaw left. And then we have entered the OSD. So here, what we want to do is go up to Features, go down to VTX TR, and then here we have all the settings that we can be on. So we can go to pit mode, which will turn off the radio, and we won't be able to see what's going on. Race band, it's kind of interesting. So it has, for band, it has race band, and Fat Shark, and Boss Cam. So it says the names instead of the letters, which is kind of interesting. And it seems to just support the 3, and then you've got all the channels that you can go through all the way through 8. And I do like that it shows you the frequency also. That's really convenient. The problem I guess I have with this version of it, it's great, except if I enable pit mode, I'm not gonna be able to see, I don't think. So we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna have to experiment with this some more. If I set it so it boots in pit mode, then I can't see to turn it back on. I'm sure there's a button to turn it on, but still, it makes this a little weird. It does make it really nice, so I can see exactly what frequency I'm on, so I have a habit of being on a close frequency, as you've seen before, and not being on quite the right one. So in this case, I'm just gonna go back, and it does, if you save it, it does update immediately. I already changed to this channel, but for now, we can go back and exit, and I think we're ready to fly. After I put the props back on, which you'll notice I did take off while I was doing this testing.
So I'm just going to do a quick regular test. Normally I will have a GoPro for this, but I can't find my hat. So it looks nice and steady and smooth. That's nice. Horizon mode looks good. Ooh, I like the stock. Wow, that thing flipped fast. I can't even say it fast enough. Wow. Okay, they have the rates really high on this, and I really like it. I like it a lot. And it's fast. It goes up fast. A little bit of prop wash if I just do bad things to it. And rate mode works just fine. Okay. There we go. Let's try some FPV. Okay. Here we go with a fresh battery and an open golf course. So there you can see, that's where the problem comes. Wow, it's locked in though. So this is one where it is if you're a good flyer. Oh, I am so out of practice with having room to fly. I'm used to just dinking around in my backyard. Now to have room, oh yeah, gosh, it is so precise. It is so precise. The video, now let me look the right direction, maybe it'll help. I think, okay, see, I have to think about it. Which way am I facing? There we go. This quadcopter is better than I am. I am not qualified, I'll just say, to take full advantage of this. But I like it. And I don't want to have to chase after the quadcopter. It just kind of sits and goes wherever I point it without issue. It is so locked in so nicely. It's really hard to describe. The video is probably the biggest issue, and it's mostly due to that antenna placement. I mean, it doesn't break up enough that it ever causes me a problem, and the camera is totally crisp, and everything is fast, really fast, without issue. Did we recover? Oh, and it's apparently durable because it recovered that without any problem. But it's getting super windy now. Holy cow, where's that wind coming from? Is there rain along with it? That would be a problem. Yeah. So the question is it worth $300? Well, the answer is not to me. Is it worth $200? Compared to, so it's double the price of a B fight right now. Is it worth double the price? Yeah, I'd say the quality from the feel of it. The B fight is really good, and especially for $100. Is this worth double that? For somebody who is going to be racing, I would say absolutely. Absolutely. It just feels perfect. I really didn't expect it to have this much of a difference for control, but it does very nicely. Oh, it's just nice. Okay, one other battery. Okay, I've got 2 more batteries. I don't know if I can take it in the cold. I also cleaned off the lens. It was covered in mud. So, oh, I don't know what to say. It's kind of like, I never knew. I'd never flown a really good quadcopter. Most of the quadcopters I fly on here are inexpensive because I am a cheapskate. I'm a total cheapskate. So that's what I buy and I review, because I expect people to not want to spend a lot of money. I just couldn't imagine why somebody would spend $300 on this. But now flying it, wow, geez, it's just really nice. Except for, see, the other video is good, at least at the moment. And I like that. I don't exactly have racing rates on it. There, I'm hurting but not destroying the battery. Float and then come back the other way. Oh, and it just goes. Okay, so I have not found a simulator I like, because this is how I want them to fly, and none of them fly like this. I don't feel like I have this level of control. Did I survive that? Oh, something's not right. There's an awful lot of lines in that video. I'm gonna come back and check that one out. There we go. I'd been a prop, and it was really, really bad. It still flew. I couldn't really tell, except for the video, that I had a problem. And now I've got low voltage. Aw. So my fingers are frozen, so I should probably bring it in. I do have one more battery. I'd really like to fly, but I don't think it's in my best interest. So yeah, who is this for? Are you a racer? Are you planning on going racing? $200 is a steal for this thing. Are you gonna be dinking around in your backyard like I do? It's probably not worth the price for those people. But if you are going to be racing and you want to go out and be pretty serious, this is a great start. I think eventually you'll upgrade your motors. but to start out with, they do really, really well.
So I was pretty hard on it out there. I hit the ground a lot, and it just kept going each time. I wasn't sure I would like this battery strap thing, this plate on the bottom, but I ended up really liking it. It held it in. There's a piece of rubber, and this plate applied a lot of extra pressure, and things didn't move at all. So it was a little hard to get adjusted the first time, but I ended up really, really liking it. I did break one of my zip ties, and this heat shrink came off, but the antenna seems okay, so I'll fix that. I bent a prop after all the times I touched the ground, and I just kind of bounced it off the ground to land. I bent one, and I was able to bend it back in, and it worked well. The camera got dirty, it got all muddy, but it kept going really well. So I didn't really crash it hard, but I kind of beat it up a little bit, and it just kept going really nicely. So is it worth $300? Not for me. Is it worth $200? Yeah, I do think it is, for sure. If you're just starting out, should you make it your first quadcopter? Not unless you plan on keeping it and going racing. I would recommend starting with something cheaper like the B-Fight. But if you're gonna spend $150, yeah, for $50 more, these components are just outstanding. I don't believe I've had anything that felt quite that smooth. I've never flown a race flight, but watching the videos, this is what it felt like. It felt like the race flight videos look, where it was just, I would turn it and it would just be locked in. And normally Betaflight's really good. I like Betaflight. Everything I fly is Betaflight. But I've never had anything quite as locked in as this felt. Even the X215 that I've got the same flight controller on, you can tell they spent a lot of time making sure the components were specifically set up and balanced and ready for one another. They didn't just buy components and put them together and say, hey, let's make a working quadcopter, but not really test it and see what it does. So if you found this useful, leave a like and a comment down below with, do you think it's worth $200? Or what would you recommend over this for $200? Was it worth it for $300? Did any of you pay $300 and you're gonna get another one for $200 because it was so amazing at $300 you have to have another one? I just realized the name is on there, so I needed to turn this one so you can actually see it. So until next time, remember, if we hit 9,000 subscribers, I'm giving this one away. So now my dilemma is, do I buy another one so I can have one too?